I recently purchased my first horse, a 3-year-old quarter horse. She was started under saddle and with lunging, but not finished. She's calm and quiet, and I have yet to find anything she's scared of, but she also doesn't care when I ask her to move when I'm lunging her. I've used flags, lunge whips, and the lunge line itself. It gets to the point where I'm lashing at her hind legs to get anything out of her, but I don't want to have to hit her with anything and have her become afraid of it. Any advice about how to get her to move forward when I ask?
Caitlin, I gotta tell you, listening to your question, you sound like a nagging mother. Let's just go ahead and call it what it is here. So your horse, I think it was a mare in your question, she doesn't want to go forward. So she's lazy. I'm going to say she's lazy and disrespectful. When I say disrespectful, I don't mean she's a killer. I don't mean she's trying to eat you. I just mean she doesn't respect you and the pressure. That's what I'm getting at here. So when you said you've used flags and lunge whips and you've used the lunge line a little bit and stuff like that, my gut just tells me, without being there to see you, you're just not being effective. You know, to be effective, you have to be understood. You know, we have a little saying. We say you do what you have to do to get the job done. You do it as easy as possible, but as firm as necessary. So what does that mean? It's not as firm as until it starts to make me uncomfortable and then I don't really want to do it, okay? And if I had to guess, without being there and seeing you, that's the vibe I'm getting, okay? So what I would tell you is I would go back to the round pen. That's the easiest place to get this done because the horse is totally loose from you. You're not pulling on him. You know, the more you pull on the horse's head, the more you're pulling on the brakes, okay? So the round pen's the best place to get started. If you don't have a round pen, you're going to do this on the lunge line, obviously. I would point and ask your horse to go forward. If she doesn't go forward, I would cluck. Think of cluck like cluck is I'm warning you. Point was I'm asking you. Let's do this like gentlemen, please. If that doesn't work, I'm going to cluck. I'm warning you. If you don't go forward and you don't move your feet, I'm going to pick the stick and string up. And then if she doesn't go forward, I'm going to spank the ground. Towards, you know, if she's, let's put it this way, if she's facing me, I'm going to spank the ground towards her head and neck. If she's looking the way she's supposed to be going, I'm going to spank the ground towards her butt while I continue to point. I'm going to spank the ground 2 or 3 times, and if she doesn't move, I'm going to start spanking her on the butt. How hard? Depends on how sensitive she is. If she's not that sensitive, and if she's not moving, chances are she's not that sensitive, you might have to spank her 4, 5, 6 times pretty hard on the butt until she goes forward. Here's the key. You ask gently, point, I'm asking you. When I point, just to give you an idea, here's in my mind what I'd be doing. Point, 1001. Cluck, 1001. Spank the ground, 1001. And every time I go through that little cycle and she ignores me, I'm going to follow through until I get some kind of movement. Now, depending on how resistant your horse is going to depend on how hard you have to spank, how many times. Do we just spank the ground? Are we going to have to spank her? But also, what kind of response are we going to get? You know, if she's really dull, I'm not really necessarily expecting her to gallop off this first time. She might just trot away from me. As soon as she does, stop pointing, clucking, spanking. Don't nag her. That is a real key to what we're doing here. I'm going to follow through, meaning don't be a hollow threat. If I'm warning you that I'm going to pick the stick up, once we get to that point, it's game over. I'm picking the stick up and I'm going to do whatever I've got to do to get something happening. But as soon as she responds, you got to quit pointing, clucking, spanking, smooching, kissing, quit all of that. Because you're just nagging her at that point. You want to be very black and white with this. I'm going to ask you to go and I'm going to follow through until you start going. But as soon as you go, I'm taking all the pressure away. She might go 3 steps, stop and look at you again. So what do? Repeat it. Point. That doesn't work, cluck. If that doesn't work, spank the ground. If that doesn't work, spank her and continue to spank her until you get some kind of a response, okay? And ultimately, all of the groundwork really is a series of that. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. We hear this all the time. Jeff, I don't want to spank my horse. Clinton, I don't like spanking him with the stick and string. I'm going to let you in on a secret. We don't like doing it either, okay? But if the horse doesn't give you any choice, meaning you've asked, he's called your bluff, now what are we going to do here? Horses don't want to have to run each other down and kick each other either. You know why? Because it's effort. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of effort for the horse to fly backwards across the pasture and kick the snot out of another horse 10 times until he actually responds. That's why they pin their ears at each other. To avoid, can't we just do this the easy way? Ears, why don't you just read me? We don't have to do any of this nonsense. But they don't always respond, do they? Same thing here. When you point, that's like you pinning your ears back at your horse and saying, come on, let's just do this the easy way. But if she doesn't want that option, you're just giving her other options until something makes her uncomfortable enough to go, okay? So all of the groundwork really is that, okay? All of the fundamentals groundwork is a series of we apply pressure. When the horse moves away from the pressure, we release the pressure. Then we have a whole nother series of what? Desensitizing, which is the total opposite. We apply pressure. When she stands still and ignores the pressure, we take the pressure away. Sounds like, your horse doesn't need a lot of desensitizing. It sounds like it needs a lot of sensitizing, okay? So I want you to go into this very matter of fact. Don't look at it like, you're not whipping her to be mean to her. Don't go in there thinking, if I whip her with the sticks, then she's going to come frightened of it. Here's the reality. On a horse like this, if the horse is so far to the extreme that they're so dull to the pressure that they have no fear of it whatsoever, you need to steer back the other direction. Now, I'm not saying we need her terrified of you and the stick and string, but if I had to pick from, I've got no concern at all for my tools, no concern for me whatsoever, that's a dangerous situation to be in with your horse. I'm not saying your horse would, is going to try to do something to you because she's nasty and she's necessarily aggressive, but she just sounds like she has no real regard for you. She doesn't really care one way or another. That means she doesn't care one way or another if she spooks and runs over the top of you. That does mean she doesn't care one way or another if she just kind of leans on you, steps on you, and breaks your foot. You get where I'm going with this? She doesn't care when you go to get on her and she just walks off and does whatever she wants to do and you get drug across the yard. You get what I'm saying? So I would take this very seriously, even though this sounds like kind of a simple issue. Take this very seriously. Are you worried about her getting jumpy and spooky? No, because the desensitizing is going to take care of that. So let's just say hypothetically, let's play this out. Let's say she does get a little worried about you. Don't worry about it, because as soon as you're done lunging her or you're done round pinning her, you're going to come back and desensitize her with the lead rope, the stick and string. You're going to flog her with kindness. You're going to spank the ground all around her until you get rid of that defensiveness. And a series of that will get to be what? I want respect without fear. When I say go, say yes, ma'am. Say yes, sir. Okay? And then when I say, okay, it's time to put you back to sleep, don't worry about the stick and string, take a chill pill. Okay? If you follow the fundamentals level of the groundwork and you follow through, don't be a hollow thread and don't be a nagging mother here, I promise you this can get fixed, no problem whatsoever. I hope that helps you out.
Take your horsemanship to the next level. The No Worries Club Premium membership is your ultimate portal to complete your horse training. You'll have access to Clinton's complete training library, thousands of hours of step-by-step instructional videos. You'll master all aspects of horsemanship, from fundamentals to trick training. You'll have access to our exclusive social network that connects you with thousands of dedicated horsemen from around the world. You'll have the method available wherever you are and accessible through the web, your phone and tablets, or your favorite streaming devices. You'll receive 8 all-new training videos per year and the quarterly No Worries Journal, as well as access to the ever-growing video library, Q&As, performance horse series, blogs, and more. But that's not all. You also get free tickets to walkabout tours and priority access to the latest news coming from Down Under horsemanship. Not to mention VIP pricing on all of Clinton's must-have training tools. So what are you waiting for? Unlock the ultimate access and jumpstart your training program today.